Welcome to the Personal Corona Recovery Program. My name is Peter Mueller and I've designed this program to help you to get through the 15-day government-imposed quarantine or self-distancing period. Today on day 8 we talk about the power of goals. But before we get there, there is the typical Day 7 checkpoint. Did you take any action after viewing the videos day 1 through day 7? Did you, from yesterday to today, identify 3 unplug and disconnect strategies or tactics? If not, go back, rethink, and start this video after you have found 3 unplug and disconnect opportunities. Do you have your hardbound journal and do you make the daily review? Did you read lessons 26 to 30 in the book 101 Crucial Lessons? Did you meditate for 10 minutes in the last 24 hours? If you have done none of these, please stop the video right now and do your homework first. Because as we said right from the beginning, this is a program of action. Without action, no change and no results. Whatever you don't practice the first time after you heard it or read it, and if you don't act on it within the first 24 hours, the chances that you ever do something is close to 0. So please get into action. All right. Now to the power of goals. Yesterday, we talked about the power of action and we learned that basically our 100% activity during the day is run basically 95% on the autopilot, subconsciously driven actions, and that only 5% are frontal lobe conscious actions during the day. And here lies the problem, because if we emotionally driven repeat every day 95% of our daily thoughts and actions on a subconscious and automatic mode, chances that we get anywhere different in 5 years than where we are today is relatively low. The only thing, our status in 5 years is different than it is today, when the outside world, like today with the coronavirus, forces us to do something different. And obviously we don't like when outside forces change our direction. We would like to be the chief of our own direction. And the only way to do it is to interrupt the old patterns and habits, the 95% of autopilot stuff during the day, and go into the conscious mode, creating our own plans, ideas, and goals, and act on them in changing our direction into the future. And the first thing we have to do for that is create a distraction-free environment. We talked about it yesterday. So number 1 is breaking the pattern of the subconscious autopilot, then create a distraction-free environment, and then we can work with our forehead, with the frontal lobe. But the question is, what are the frontal lobe questions to think and act about? After you have created all that time, getting rid of a lot of automated autopilot actions. And here we are. We talk about the power of goals. Number 1, again, we have to break the pattern and we have to clean up to get time. And the key thing of the program is to free up initially 10 hours per week, which is only 2 hours per day. But you will be surprised if you can get 2 hours dedicated work, frontal lobe, conscious work, thinking and acting per day, how much progress you can get in a relatively quickly period of time. And in order to do this cleanup, you can also go to my YouTube video you type in Peter Mueller Power Principle 1, Part 2. This is a 20-minute video which specifically talks about the so-called Quadrant 3 cleanup. One of the key things of it is the same as here, is unplugged and disconnect. That we control the outside stimuli from our electronic universe, which are every day imposed on us. If we don't control the inflow, what reaches us, we are hopelessly going into the reactive mode and stay in the autopilot. Remember one important thing: we have one task, one app or one program, one device idea. For spreadsheets, you have one spreadsheet software to do the calculation. You have one software to make PowerPoint charts. You have one app to take notes, to take voice notes, and so forth. Eliminate all these duplications and triplications. Now, after you have done your cleanup work, which is a routine work you have to do on a regular basis, but at the beginning you should spend a lot of time to create free time. And again, the way to do it, you have to interrupt the old patterns, the autopilot actions. Now, for the newly freed up time, what are you doing? You are actually designing plans. You first establish some goals. And what are goals, you might ask? I say goals are dreams with a deadline. Now, when you go through the literature and you look about the facts and opinion about goals, you will find the following stats. 90% of people don't set regular goals for themselves in business and in private. By the way, these are the same 95% people, or at least most of them, who don't watch this video, who go through the situation of the coronavirus crisis and let the outside world dictate what they do, and then play the victim and just try to hang on and go with the flow or whatsoever. Only 1% of people consistently set and achieve goals. And you know, when you see these kind of people, they think and plan and act, and they go through life differently than the big masses. People who set goals are normally more successful because they achieve more. Because you cannot achieve any success before you have set a goal to achieve it. So if you don't set goals, you cannot achieve anything of any real significance. You are in the autopilot mode, have all these illusions of productivity, these little thingies which don't get you anywhere. Achieving meaningful goals creates the feeling and the emotion of success and happiness. And it is while going through the process of achieving that creates the good feeling. It's not the end result. It is going through the process of achieving which creates the feeling good. So, in other words, there is no way to happiness. Happiness is the way. But before you can get on the road, you have to define a goal, a dream. You have to have a dream, and it has to be very specific, and you have to put a deadline to it. Now, essential qualities of effective goals and objectives. How do you write goals down? How do you create them? What is the touch and feel of goals? Goals have to be SMART. S-M-A-R-T. S stands for specific, significant, and simple. 2 for measurable, meaningful, and motivating. Number 3 for actionable and achievable. R for realistic, relevant, and reasonable. And T for time-bound, timely, and time-sensitive. Here comes the deadline aspect of this whole exercise into play. If you make SMART goals, and you always, before you write a goal down and you make it a goal, Test it if it is smart, specific, measurable, motivating, actionable, realistic, and time-bound. And if it fulfills these criteria, then you can go forward. And then this is a frontal lobe activity. This has nothing to do with the autopilot. And it feels completely different when you are in this mode. Goals are magnets for success, as I call it. But goals have something also to it. In order to achieve any significant goals, you will and must challenge the status quo. You must leave your comfort zone. And it feels a little awkward because there is always some risk involved when you leave the comfortable autopilot zone. But you have to do the magic first step. The procrastinator never does it. Procrastinators may have some goals, and you might consider looking my procrastinator video on YouTube to learn more about it, why they are not making the first step, and so they never achieve anything. They postpone everything into infinity. And one other important thing for goals is goals have to be written down and visible to you, and you have to have your daily remembering thingies. I call it when the goals are broken down, what you will learn in a second, that the daily chunk you have, you write it on a post-it note, and you have every day a little post-it note with you where you have your daily chunks, your daily bites in the apple for the big goal. The 7 steps to achieve goals from start to finish are: number 1, clearly state the desired goal. For example, I can do 50 push-ups on August 1st this year. Or at the end of the year, I have $1,000 on my checking account. Okay? Or I paid all my credit cards debt off by Christmas of this year. Very specific, and a timeline. Then you break it down into mini goals. Once you know 50 push-ups until August, then you look, how many can I do now? If you can do now 30, it is a different step process to go there. If you can do only 10, and then you break it down. If you can do only 5, then you break the 50 into 10 5 steps, and you say, okay, I can do 10, 15, 20, or 10, 20, 30 at that time. And then you follow through. And then you have every day a little bite at it, and you can measure your progress, and you are always successful once you work on your goal. Every single step gives you the feeling of success and achievement, and that gives you the good feeling. All right, number 3, after you have broken it down into the mini goals, then you set timelines for each mini goal. And if you don't achieve it at a certain point, then revise your timelines, but make timelines. And you will see they pull you actually forwards. Number 4, measure progress and write them down and celebrate intermediate results. And challenge yourself in between with some targets. Next Saturday is 30 push-ups. I can do already 25. Let's do 28 today to get a little bit ahead of the game, Stimulate yourself, push yourself a little bit. Number 6, connect with others and friends and enjoy it socially with your friends. If it is physical goals, talk with your friends. Hey, I have my 50 push-ups program. I'm at 35 today. Or with your spouse and your family. Look, we are on the way to get out of credit card debt until Christmas. Look, out of the 3 credit cards, on the first one we have already 50% paid down on the balance. These little steps, enjoy it with the people you communicate with. And 7, enjoy the process and progress every step of the way, because you are successful in the moment when you spend time and energy on your goal. You are already successful in that moment, and you feel it. Progress equals happiness. And you feel the progress. You get the sense of progress when you focus and concentrate working on it. We talked about focus yesterday, and that's what you do when you focus on your step at the time when you do it. Last but not least, the famous circle of achievement. I call it the cycle of achievement. Set clear goals. We have just seen how to do it. Make detailed and specific plans. This is nothing else but breaking it down and write down the specific, what needs to happen, what you need to do to achieve the end result. Then, so you have the goal, you have the thought, then you have the action. Remember? Thought, words, action, habits, achievement, destiny. Here we go. Goals, you thought, you have your thought, you create the plan, you have the action, and you create a result. And if it's not exactly what you want, you reassess and recalibrate and do the same thing again. And that's how it works. That's it for today. I don't want to repeat the white box on the left-hand side. If you don't get it until now, I think you are in the hopeless category, but you watched this video, so you are not hopeless. You have done already something. Okay. Now for tomorrow, tasks and exercises for day number 9. Number 1, meditate your 10 minutes per day to get emotionally balanced during the next day. Read lessons 31 to 35 of the 101 Crucial Lessons book. Identify 3 major long-term goals for work and private life, for your job and for your social life. 3 big things. For the job, you simply look at your job description or you talk to your boss. What do you expect me to accomplish in the next 3 months? Take the 3 big things and break them down. Last but not least, professionally and personally, make always personal development goals. Which skills and competencies do I want to acquire during the next months or so? What do I want to learn more? What do I want? Which skill do I want to have? Okay, and tomorrow is day 9. I see I wrote down day 10. I have to correct it on this chart. Day 9 is think before you act. On that note, see you tomorrow and live with passion. And stay home and stay safe and practice social distancing. See you tomorrow.